Nice to meet you. Where have you been? I could show you incredible things. Yeah. Okay, that was kind of a goofy bit, but hi, welcome or welcome back. I've got a really exciting video in store for us tonight, and let me just start by saying happy release day to 1989 Taylor's version. It's actually not release day for me because I'm filming this a little bit before, but for you, it should be. The beverage of choice tonight is a very poorly made Cosmopolitan. I wanted to have a drink that was kind of on theme with the album, but Taylor doesn't really get into referencing alcohol until Reputation. So I went with a Cosmo to capture those New York vibes. Cheers. I hope you're sipping on something delicious as well. The song of the day is Out of the Woods, but specifically the cover that Taylor did at the Grammys. Because why did she go off like that? I can't really comment on any specific Taylor's version from 1989 yet, since I haven't heard it yet. You're hearing from past me at the moment, but I am so excited to listen to it. I would love it if you would comment your favorite vault track in the comments. And I'd say I'm feeling excited. How could you not be on a Taylor release week? Before I get in talking about the specific books for specific songs, I wanted to talk about 1989 just in general and the themes and maybe even genre that I think show through. I think you could probably argue that most of Taylor Swift's albums could be some sort of romance genre, and that holds true for 1989 as well. It's specifically the second chance romance trope, right? There are a lot of songs about a relationship that has failed, but Taylor seems to be analyzing where they went wrong and how she thinks that the relationship could have worked out, maybe could work out again one day, if both parties kind of admit and accept where they went wrong. And to me, that's second chance romance. Let's get into it. So track one, we have Welcome to New York. I love Welcome to New York as an opening track. I think it's so fun. It kind of embodies the spirit of moving to New York to start over, start a new career, or just moving on to the next chapter in your young adult life. So there's a lot of really great books I could have picked. Oh, and let me start by saying, I really curated this list. I wanted to fit each book to the song as best as I could. So some of these books I haven't actually read. I'm sorry. I really went off the description and I read some reviews, and I feel confident with my picks, okay? So this first one for Welcome to New York, I have not read, but I do have it on my shelf. And that is Cover Story by Susan Rigetti. Cover Story follows an NYU student, Laura, who is kind of going through a tough period. She's just lost her scholarship. Things are looking pretty rough, but she ends up landing a summer internship at Elle magazine, where she works under the editor, Cat Wolf. I guess they hit it off, and Cat Wolf suggests that Laura drops out of school and becomes her full-time ghostwriter. Laura kind of is just swept off into the scene. So that aspect really feels like it fits right with Welcome to New York with me. It's kind of like she's starting her life over, experiencing some really big life changes while living in New York. But things start to get crazy when not everything is as it seems with Miss Cat Wolf. This is actually a thriller, which I didn't know that until I looked into it a little bit more, because I feel like this cover isn't giving thriller, right? It's kind of giving like, maybe not romance, borderline romance though, kind of like new adult coming of age type story, but it is a thriller, and I think it would be a great pick if you are a Welcome to New York girly. Track two, Blank Space. I love Blank Space. It's such a fun song, and I think Taylor does a really cool thing where she plays on this character that the media has created, with these ideas they have of her about her being a player, her not being able to keep a man, kind of the crazy ex-girlfriend persona they have created for her. And she took it and ran with it. She said, oh, that's what you think of me? Okay, cool. Hear this then. And I think that's so fun, and that's something I really respect and admire about her. So when I was thinking about a book for blank space, I really wanted to play up the crazy ex-girlfriend, unhinged woman, and specifically the line, darling, I'm a nightmare dressed like a daydream. I had to call it back to my favorite unhinged woman, and that is, of course, Amy Dunn in Gone Girl. If you watched my previous video with my fall TBR, I mentioned how I just read Gone Girl, and I absolutely loved it. I love Gillian Flynn's writing. I think Gone Girl is spectacular. Amy Dunn is such a great character. I think she kind of fits into the blank space character because she really starts the same way Taylor does, by making everything seem like it's perfect, fitting to be the exact mold that the man wants from her, and then hitting that quick switch and showing her crazy. That's something I admire. I'm an Amy Dunn defender through and through. So that's my pick for blank space. Track 3, style. My favorite. Style is like the personification, I feel like I keep saying that, but it is, of the good girl, bad boy trope. You know, long hair, slicked back, white t-shirt, that good girl face, tight little skirt. It's just adding up, it's checking the boxes. So I kind of struggled to pick this one, and not because there isn't like numerous options out there. These days, as I have grown up and matured a little bit, I don't like this trope as much as I did when I was 13. I think it can be done well, but most of the time it's glorifying really toxic relationships. So of all the books I have read like that, I didn't feel comfortable recommending any of them, so I found one that I hadn't read before, and that is Practice Makes Perfect by Sarah Adams. Just looking at this cover, yeah, like that's good girl, that's bad boy. Yeah. So like I said, I haven't read this one, but Practice Makes Perfect is about Annie Walker, who is like the town good girl. She's a hopeless romantic, and she wants to find love someday, but her relationships keep not working out. So she thinks that she needs to basically learn how to be dateable, and she decides there's no one better than town bad boy Will Griffin. Will Griffin is this mysterious bad boy with tattoos. I think he's a bodyguard, and basically he wants nothing to do with Miss Annie, but she somehow convinces him to give her dating lessons, and I think it turns into like a fake dating sort of situation, and maybe they fall in love. I haven't read it, so I don't know. But the reason I felt semi-comfortable recommending this one is because I was reading through reviews and I saw a few that said, "We love a man who knows how to communicate." So hopefully this isn't a toxic bad boy, good girl situation, but I don't know because I haven't read it. So if you have, feel free to talk about it in the comments, or if you have a better pick for that sort of trope, let me know. Track 4 is Out of the Woods. Out of the Woods follows a relationship that, as Taylor herself says, is built to fall apart, and the relationship kind of falls apart due to the scrutiny of the public eye, and they kind of kill it themselves because they think it just can't work out because of all the negativity that's surrounding them, you know, in the woods that they can't get out of. Kind of looking back on this relationship that has ended and realizing it probably could have worked out if they had like the clarity to step back and really analyze the relationship like you are able to do once you are no longer in the relationship. And I thought The X Talk by Rachel Lynn Solomon would be a pretty good option. The X Talk follows Shay and Dominic, who both work in public radio. They're co-workers, but they're enemies at work due to a lot of just internal competition between the two. They're kind of forced to come together and face that when they are put on a radio show together called The X Talk, which is two exes from a failed relationship giving relationship advice to people. However, Shay and Dominic never actually dated. They grow closer and start to catch feelings, but they're in this really tough predicament where the whole world, all their fans, think that they're already exes. So there's this fear of getting caught in their lies and trying to work out how they can be together. That makes it really tough. And I feel like it's pretty similar to the situation in Out of the Woods, where the relationship is struggling and failing because of the perception of the public eye, and they have to figure out how to work that out. Track 5 is All You Had to Do Was Stay. All You Had to Do Was Stay follows a relationship that didn't work out, and it could have been so easy if the person who ended up leaving had just stayed. Down the line, they end up coming back and trying to work things out, but it kind of just doesn't work out like that. So I thought The Great Gatsby would be a great pick. And can we just take a moment? She's gorgeous. I do collect leather-bound editions of classics that I love. I have quite a few up there, but I don't think you can see. They're like just out of frame. I feel like it fits very well with All You Had to Do Was Stay, because all Gatsby had to do was stay. All he had to do was stay with Daisy. But no, he couldn't be content because he had to go chase the American dream. Down the line, trying to woo Daisy back, you know, flashing that green light at her, throwing these crazy parties, it may catch her attention for a little bit, but it doesn't work out because people like Daisy are gone forever when you say goodbye. Gatsby, All You Had to Do Was Stay. I feel like that fits pretty well. Track 6 is Shake It Off. We all know Shake It Off. Shake It Off is that girl. Shake It Off is about not caring what the haters think. We know this. It's about staying true to yourself and honoring your authenticity. And I really truly believe that Taylor Swift had this next book in mind when she was writing Shake It Off, and that is Stargirl by Jerry Spinelli. And the reason I can say that pretty confidently is because there's a clip of Taylor talking about Stargirl. I'm pretty sure during the 1989 era, based off her hair. I'll insert that here.
I read this book called Stargirl that is about this girl who's very different than everybody else in her school, and some people call her weird, but no matter how much they make fun of her, she just continues to be herself, and pretty soon that individuality rubs off on everyone else and they all want to be like her.
Taylor's a fan of Stargirl. You should be too. So I went back and I listened to the audiobook, and it was so pleasantly wholesome. I really enjoyed it. Yes, it's kind of quirked up to the max, but so is Shake It Off, and that's why they fit so well. And the book really analyzes the importance of non-conformity, which I feel like Shake It Off does too. I was hesitant, I didn't think I'd like it, but it warmed my brittle heart. So next is track 7, I Wish You Would. I Wish You Would talks about a relationship that has ended, and Taylor is coming from the perspective of wishing that the relationship didn't end, wishing that her partner would show up at her door and ask for her back. I just had to include this somewhere. There's a lot of places this one could have fit. That is Normal People by Sally Rooney. This is a book that I just feel like Swifties get it. If you somehow don't know, Normal People follows Marianne and Connell throughout several years of their relationship, starting in high school and on till past college a bit. The whole thing is about how their relationship just never quite works out. There's always something in the way, whether that's Connell's insecurities or Marianne's stubbornness. I feel like I Wish You Would fits because it's just like, if nothing else, the whole time you're reading it, you're like, I wish you just would figure it out. I wish whichever character would show up at the other's door and just finally admit their true feelings and figure out how to make it work. So yeah, if you haven't read Normal People by now, you probably should. Track 8 is Bad Blood. I feel like pretty much everyone knows that Bad Blood is about a friendship that has gone sour. There's really not much else to say other than that. It's about a friendship that's gone horribly wrong. And when I think of that, I think of Vicious by V.E. Schwab. Vicious is about two roommates, Victor and Eli, best of buds, studying like the same things. They both have a fascination with superheroes. And then later, they both end up becoming superheroes. because they're both into science things, so they like figure out how to become superheroes. Eli, down the line, he has this persona of being like the superhero, like he's a good guy, but he's not actually a good guy. Whereas Victor is the villain, but he's the good guy. I don't know if you could actually say he's a good guy. He's kind of more of a morally gray character, but now Victor is trying to stop Eli from doing something bad, which I can't remember what it is, because I read it so long ago, but you probably don't want me to tell you anyways, because maybe that's a spoiler. I don't remember. So they start off as really good friends, and they are now enemies through and through. Track 9 is Wildest Dreams. Wildest Dreams is the perspective of still being in a relationship, but knowing that it is going to end eventually. For whatever reason, it just can't work out, hoping that whoever your partner is at the time will at least look back on you standing in a nice dress, red lips, rosy cheeks, you know, whatever. My pick was definitely influenced by the music video, which has an old Hollywood vibe to it. So it made me think of The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I'm sure you are all well familiar with this book, but if you haven't somehow heard of it by now, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo is about this old Hollywood actress. She teams up with this writer to write her tell-all book about the life she has lived. Throughout the course of her life, she has married 7 different men, and it kind of goes through and talks about her relationship with each, what was going on. I'm not going to spoil it in case you don't somehow know. Throughout her 7 husbands, there is one person who is her true love. Due to society at the time of old Hollywood, she cannot be with her one true love. So that's what kind of makes me think of Wildest Dreams, when Evelyn is with this person, knowing that it just can't work out, or at least it can't work out how she wants it to. She's kind of looking at it while they're together, knowing it's gonna fall apart some way, somehow. I feel like it fits the song, but if nothing else, it fits those old Hollywood vibes from the music video. Track 10 is How You Get the Girl. In How You Get the Girl, Taylor spells out exactly how to win a girl back. And basically that's showing up at her door and begging for forgiveness, admitting your faults, and trying to work it out. What better pick than Pride and Prejudice? This is another one of my beautiful leather-bound books. Stunning. Truly, Taylor could have written How You Get the Girl about Pride and Prejudice, because that's Darcy. That's Darcy showing up at Elizabeth's door. I keep saying this, but if you somehow don't know Pride and Prejudice, it follows Lizzie Bennet, who is part of a larger family of all girls. They are poor in comparison to Darcy, who is this like rich, mysterious, aloof gentleman who shows up to town, and he's really rude and I guess you could say full of prejudices. He ends up falling for her. Believe it or not, Elizabeth isn't immediately drawn to a man who is rude and talks bad about her and her family. So Darcy really does have to like show up at her door and beg for forgiveness once he admits his faults and figures out how to do it better. If you are a Swiftie, you will love Jane Austen. That is just factual. Track 11 is This Love. It's about how a relationship can end when you're younger because you don't really know what you need. Those people can eventually find their way back together if it's really what's meant to be. So for This Love, I picked 7 Days in June by Tia Williams. This is another one that I haven't read, but I have heard very good things about it. It's about 2 writers, Eva and Shane. I think may have just had a one-night stand, or they had a brief fling of some sort. And then 20 years later, they are both authors and they meet again at a literary event of some kind, and they're brought back together. As it turns out, they've basically been writing to each other in their books all these years. So I assume it's about rekindling that love and seeing if it can work out, which sounds exactly like This Love. Track 12 is I Know Places. I Know Places is about an unsteady relationship that is struggling due to the, again, scrutiny of the public eye, and In I Know Places, Taylor talks about knowing a place that she can run away and hide with her lover in order for them to be together. That really made me think of Carol, aka The Price of Salt, by Patricia Highsmith. I am a big Patricia Highsmith girly, and I absolutely love Carol. It is a heartbreaking but also heartwarming book about Therese, who works in a department store, and during the Christmas season, Carol walks in and they meet, and from that day they're kind of inseparable and they form a relationship, but this takes place in the 50s, I believe, so they cannot be together, but that doesn't really stop them from being together. They just have to find places to hide. They kind of go on a road trip together, and Carol's husband is trying to catch them in the act, basically. So you can see how it fits with themes of having to hide due to what the public eye thinks of you. And track 13 is Clean. Clean is about healing after a breakup, or if you interpret it differently, I feel like it could just be about sobriety in general. Clean is just a fantastic song, so it deserved a fantastic book. And that is Yerba Buena by Nina LaCour. As you can see, I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I tabbed it to all hell. This was my favorite read of 2022. Yerba Buena follows two girls, Sarah and Emily, who have hard lives. Sarah comes from a traumatic background and ends up running away from home. And Emily is a girl who's struggling to find herself, someone who's constantly switching her majors at school and struggling to figure out what she wants to do with her life. And they end up meeting because Sarah has run away, and through that she enters the restaurant business, and Emily finds herself as a flower arranger. I don't know if that's like the correct term. Flower arranger? Florist. Emily is arranging flowers at that restaurant, and it's kind of like a they just miss each other, meet in passing kind of story, where you find out how they're connected and how they grow together. It's not about healing from a breakup or sobriety, but it is about healing from the really painful aspects of your life and how you can like escape from the hand you've been dealt in life, and how you can reshape that when you, I feel like it sounds cheesy to say, but like when you follow your heart. This book is phenomenal. It is worthy of a comparison to Clean. So track 14 is Wonderland. Something I love so much about Taylor Swift's music as a bookish girly is that she has so many literary references throughout her work, and Wonderland is one of the more obvious ones. It is referencing Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I totally could have found a book that like fit with it more thematically, but I picked Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. I mean, come on. That is the best comparison. If you really want to pick up on all those references that are in the song, just go straight to the source material. Track 15 is You Are in Love. You Are in Love is one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs. In my humble opinion, it is her most romantic song. It's just all about being in love, and how when you're in love, you can feel it everywhere around you. You can hear it in the silence. And it has this really beautiful moment where the love interest says, "You're my best friend." And that's the moment when Taylor realizes they are not just best friends, they are in love with each other. I wanted to pick a friends to lovers book, and to me, the perfect example of that is Emma by Jane Austen. Like I said earlier, if you are a Swiftie, you will enjoy Jane Austen. Emma is about this rich girl who's kind of like above it all when it comes to love and dating, but she likes to play matchmaker and pair people in the town up with each other. She has this family friend, Mr. Knightley. It's like a very slow burn, like she doesn't realize for a long time how much she loves him, and it's the perfect friends to lover story. The final track, track 16, is New Romantics. It's this really fun, upbeat pop anthem about being young and heartbreak and accepting the punches and the blows and growing from all the negativity. I kind of had trouble with this one And I was reading back over the list of what I did pick, and I'm kind of struggling to like remember why I picked this. So I kind of feel like this needs like a young adult or like a coming of age story, but I don't know, I just couldn't think of anything like that. So instead, I went maybe the complete opposite direction and picked Night Shift by Kiara Ladner. I think that's how you pronounce it, maybe. Night Shift is a book about female friendship and female obsession. It's about these two girls, Sabine and Maggie, and they work together, and Maggie becomes obsessed with Sabine. And then one day, Sabine announces that she is switching to the night shift. Maggie compulsively decides to switch too. Sabine tries to kind of push Maggie away, and that just leads her to becoming more and more invested and kind of grappling to hold on to this friendship. I think this line is why I picked it. Night Shift explores the thin line between self-invention and self-destruction. The line between self-invention and self-destruction fits with the themes of New Romantics. If you have a better pick for a book that reminds you of New Romantics, please let me know. And with that, that is all the book recommendations I have based off songs on 1989. I am nothing if not a Swiftie who loves books, so I would love to continue making videos like these if you guys are interested in them. You better believe I will be making recommendations for Reputation and Debut when the Taylor's versions eventually come out. But if there are any of the albums that you want me to go back and do, since I was on my hiatus when the other ones came out, I will eventually do a video on all of them if you will have me. I hope you listen to 1989 Taylor's version to your heart's content. I hope you love it, you enjoy it, it's amazing. And thank you so much for watching. I would love it if you would comment down below and let me know which sounded most interesting to you, or if you think you had a better pick for one of the songs, especially New Romantics. I don't know what I was doing when I picked that. Cheers, happy listening, happy reading, say you'll remember me. That was the only reference that's coming to mind right now, so I'll see you next time.